In my today's video, I would like us to see how you can be able to create an Excel file. When you open Excel window or Excel 2016, the window opens in this format. So in our case, we have the toolbars, you have the menu bars, and also you have the work area. The work area is a grid of rows and columns. The rows are numbered 1, 2, etc. to millions of columns. Then the rows are lettered A, B, that is the columns are lettered A, B, C, D onwards. So for example, when you get to Z, we start with A, B, etc. and they go all the way as many columns as you may wish. Then the intersection between a cell, that is intersection between a row and a column, makes what we call a cell. So for example, we have this cell and the cells are numbered, that is the cells are named using a column followed by a row. For example, in our first cell, when you look at the cell, the name box, it is named A1, meaning that this is cell number A1. When you go to that, it's at cell C8. You can go to J2, you can go to column L6, so that is, you can go to cell A6. So those are cells. If you want to increase the size of the cell, you bring your cursor to the top at this particular point, and then you hold your, that is, you hold the button as you increase to the level you intend. Then let's say you want to merge the first cells. Let's say the cell A1 to cell A1 to H1. You can merge these cells using this toolbar here, or using this button, that is a merge and center. When you try to type anything, in this case, let's say college exam, you can use capitals. So that is for merge and center. So you can also write information. In this case, let's say you have a name of a student, you have a marks obtained in ICT, you have marks in let's say this is a class for IT, so you have computational maths. We have a operating system, all the OS. We have communication skills. We have what else do we learn in ICT? We have let's say something like programming, or the structured programming. And we have the last one being, okay, you can also have total, average. Let's have that. So name, in this case we have the first name, we have Jane Muse. We have another student named Judy Molwa. We have Emmanuel Mania. We have Faith Kabina. We have somebody like James Sioka. We have another person like Kimani Joseph. So So let's say work with those. So let's say in this case, in this exam you had 70. Let's just give them some marks. I've just given them marks at random. Remember, this is an example. These are not real marks for those who think that they have not done good. For CS, students pass very well in CS, so you can give them good marks in CS. They can not all get the same marks, so you have that. Structured programming is one of the tough programs, but some students do score good marks. It's only that some students do not want to work hard. So in this case, when you want to get the total, we can use today I would like us to see on now we can be able to use what we call functions. So a function starts with an equal sign, is equal to sum, then you include a bracket, sum from cell B3, sum from cell B3 all the way to F3, all the way to F3. Then close the bracket and press the enter key, so that to give us the sum. You can drag at this particular point and automatically recalculate. Then for the average, you can also use the function for average is equal to average and you give the same range, that is cell B3 all the way to cell F3, the average of the same. Remember that you should not include total while calculating the average, so this will give you something of that sort. Okay, the same way, let me remove this. The same way, you can also calculate average using just normal calculation and say is equal to the total. Click on the total divided by the number of subjects. So there are 5 subjects, and divide by 5, and it will still give you the same answer. Then you drag in that format. You can include another column here and call them, let's say, remarks. So for the remarks, you can have those students who have the average above 80, those should have distinction. Those who have above 70 to have let's say credit, and those who have 60 and above pass, and the rest you can give them, let's say, poor. It's not good to tell a student poor, but you can give them a remark like pull up. So in this case, you can say it's equal to, in this case, an if function. So it's equal to if average, which is at cell H3, if average is greater or equal to 80, this student, you shall give them, okay, after greater than or equal to 80, we use a comma to separate the logical text from the value that you are going to give this person. This person, you have said you give them a distinction. Then a comma, we start with an if the same value, which is H3, if H3 is greater or equal to 70, comma, this person, give him a credit. Okay, comma, you can have if the same H3 is greater or equal to 60, this person will give them a pass, comma, otherwise it's only the last part. You should not, it's not a must to give it an if. You can give it just the value pull up. Then we close the brackets. Remember, you have to see the number of brackets that you have opened, then you close with the same number. So in that case, you mtu amepata pull up, then you can have the others, and it will automatically recalculate in that format. So with that, I think we have been able to see on how we can use total, average, those are the functions, and also the if function. We can also have other function than like the minimum. Let's say in this case we use is equal to min, and then you give it the range. If you want to get the person who got the minimum, in this case between the range, that is a nicety, so it will start with a B3 all the way to B8. So that range, the function will give us the person who got the minimum marks. So the same case, when you drag this, you will be able to get the minimum in all other places. Then remember, the minimum in this person got the minimum, he also got the minimum in the other subject. But when you look at the operating system, the minimum is not from the same person. You can also have the maximum is equal, that is maximum. The maximum function same is equal to max, the same range, that is B3 all the way to B8 is in that range, and the maximum is given that format. And go to and then the last part. So when you look at this function for minimum, function for maximum. Okay, let's say we had to include a chart. In this case, the chart using the names, so we highlight the names, then the charts using the names and the total, we press down the control key and then highlight the totals. You highlight the names, press down the control key as you highlight the totals. Then you go to insert, then you go to the type of the chart you want. I will prefer a pie chart. I will prefer this pie chart. Then I can change the position of my chart to that place. Then this chart, I can edit the chart area. Let's say, for example, start with the title. I can change this title. Okay, I can change this title. I can change this title and give it a title like a chart for performance. I can also include other things, like include the labels. You can include labels in that format. So those are some of the things that you can do in the chart. You can also move the chart to a new location. If you want to change it to you can move the chart to as an object in sheet. Then you create another new sheet, let's say in sheet 2, as an object in sheet 2, etc. You can also rename this sheet. Let's say if you are told to rename this sheet, you can rename it. Let's rename it to be like a student's marks. I'm a student. You just call it a student. So this is referred to as renaming the sheet. We have renamed the sheet. Sometimes you can be told to add a row or a column. Let's say a row above Judy Muller. You are told to add another row above Judy Muller. So I just right click in this case and then insert. So we shall have inserted a row above Judy Muller, and then you can include content in that case. And you can give them the marks. Let's say you can give them marks in this format. Let's say hapa yeye ndiye alipata nyingi, let's say alipata kitu kama 90. You see, it will automatically recalculate all the other values in this format. Let's say in this case apata things like that. So the total, you can just drop down, it will automatically recalculate. You drop this, it will automatically recalculate. Then drop the other one, it will automatically recalculate in that format. So with that, I think we have been able to see the functions, how to insert a chart, how we can be able to rename chart title, rename a sheet. We have also seen on how you can be able to create that is how you can move a chart from sheet 1 to sheet 2. You can also, after having done your work, it's always good to highlight your text and then go to borders and all borders, so it will look a little bit presentable. And with that, always make sure you save your work in the desired location, or the named location you have in your computer. That I wish you all well as you prepare for your exams, as you prepare for learning Excel and many more other functions that you may come across in Excel. Thank you.